Let's do the damn thing. Were you nervous when you did the interview?
Yeah, a little.
Are you recording now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hit it.
Welcome, all you lovebirds, and ladies and gentlemen, it's happened. Football is over. It's baseball season. We are the Coach's Sons. My name is Andrew.
I'm Chris.
It is February 15th, and we are excited to be back. There's been a few weeks off because of work travel and trying to get things figured out, but man, do we have an episode for you guys. We're so excited. We got our first big interview. Chris, you want to kind of take that real quick and tell the people who we talked to?
Yeah, our first interview, it's going to come at the end of the episode. We're going to timestamp everything in the description. But we got Barstool RDT. For those who don't know, he's a big Orioles guy, Barstool's resident Orioles correspondent, if you will. Big guy around that community as well. But we talked a lot of Orioles. We threw a few AL East questions at him too, just some kind of general, here and there. But he was super good to have on, super good guy. Hopefully he'll come back on at some point, for our tens of listeners. Hopefully he brings in more to start and you guys hang around too.
We can get to 20s of listeners.
But we had a really good time with him. Hopefully he'll come back on at some point, maybe mid-season or so. Mm-hmm. And, we'll talk about this later, but in true Coach's Sons fashion, we actually recorded that interview on Monday. And as of this morning, a ton of Orioles news broke. So we'll touch on that a little later. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk about that with RDT, but I did shoot him a message to kind of get some insight.
Get some footnotes.
Yeah, it's a few extra comments.
Chris, I'm beginning to think that if we are bored and there's nothing happening in Major League Baseball, we should just record a podcast because it never fails that something happens as soon as we finish recording. It's ridiculous.
Every time. And we're going to get right into it after the last intro here, but the very first signing happened after our last release.
Exactly.
Again, it's like clockwork. And who knows, maybe tomorrow or Saturday, 24 hours from now, we've got a Snell, Montgomery, or Bellinger signing.
All of them sign. As soon as we're done with this, they all sign. It's going to be ridiculous. So, Chris, we talked about it. Who's the big fish that as soon as you left and the door shut behind you got signed?
Our boy Josh Hader.
Man. Now, he didn't go to the Dodgers, so let's caveat that. Thank God. He did not go to the Dodgers, but he did go to your beloved Astros, and I say that very sarcastically.
Yeah, we're not scared of him.
You're not scared of the best closer in baseball?
Nope.
You are full of shit, Chris.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You're not... Okay, please explain yourself.
I mean, I don't have much to explain. You can't be afraid of the guy. What are you going to do? You got to play him. You're going to play him 40 times this year. He'll pitch probably 25 of them, and you got to rough him up a little bit.
I mean, yeah, but okay. I mean, great positive attitude, Chris. I love it. But he makes one of the best teams in the AL even better.
Yeah, he sure does. I mean, let's not take away from how good he actually is.
He was the number one reliever out there.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't
he's a top three closer, right? Like, he's a stud. They signed him for, 5 years? So he's just going to be a thorn in the side of this division for years to come. I don't love it.
I thought for sure someone was going to sign him, and then he would become trade bait at the halfway through the season for a bigger team that's competing. But nope, Astros went straight for it. They're like, we don't want to wait. We're going to go for it.
He got like $20 million a year. He got a ton of money.
That's a lot of money for a reliever. I mean, I understand he's a closer and one of the best closers to do it, so it makes sense. I'm glad he's not a Dodger. So I'm sorry that he's an Astro. But I mean, it's definitely. I think it's a big signing for sure. But rattle off a couple more. I know there's some significant ones.
Let's see. I was looking up some other stuff. You caught me off guard. So this is just a notable one, just based off weirdness. Aroldis Chapman to the Pirates for $10.5 million,
which is significantly less than what Hader got paid.
But he's not as good.
He's not as good, and it's the Pirates.
Yeah, that's got to be a third of their payroll in Aroldis Chapman.
It has to be, right?
Like, I mean, you just mentioned the whole we're gonna flip this guy at the deadline. Like, if you don't think somebody's Aroldis Chapman's going to a playoff contending team.
Yeah.
For, I don't know, 2 mid to low tier prospects, you're nuts. Like the Pirates will get something out of that.
That's definitely the move. And I mean, that's what happened with Texas. I mean, Chapman, how many hats has that man put on?
A lot. He's a good grid guy. This is a kind of irrelevant stat. I was looking it up before you threw the extra guys on me.
Not bad.
The Mariners have never scored a run off Josh Hader, but it's only been like 5 innings.
I was about to say, okay.
It hasn't been a lot.
I mean,
I thought there was
sample size.
I thought there was a bigger sample size. It isn't. So let's move on. Aroldis Chapman, Pirates, cool.
Weird he'll get traded next.
Somebody who was like kind of a big, who was a big name this offseason, kind of rumored a lot of places. Rhys Hoskins went to the Brewers, $34 million for 2 years, so $17 million a year. That's a nice little comeback story for him. He's gonna have a chance to just be their 2, 3, 4 hitter, whatever you want to plug him in at.
I'm really surprised because the Brewers are not a team that is known for spending money. It's not a lot of money, but it's still more than I expect to see the Brewers put down on paper. So.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder like what his market was then, because they just seemed to that might just be what he was at, or the highest offer, and he just went.
Yeah, that's
it's like
fair.
the Brewers aren't that appealing overall offensively.
No, yeah. I mean, he makes them better. There's no doubt. He makes that lineup better, but I mean, they're getting rid of their studs, so
yeah,
if they can't pitch, what's the point?
What are you gonna do? I don't know.
Lose
I
a lot
like
of
Rhys
baseball
Hoskins.
games.
Maybe he hits 30 home runs for him. Hopefully he bounces back from injury. I have no hate for him. I actually don't have any hate for the Brewers. Good for them for spending a few bucks, but
yeah,
let's see what happens.
I mean, the Brewers are one of the more fun teams when it comes to like name and mascots.
They have history.
Yeah. So I there's no hate towards the Brewers at all. I think it's just because it's the least intimidating team out there. Maybe. I mean, the Marlins are the least intimidating, but you hear Brewers and it doesn't strike fear in your heart. I guess
at least not now. They got a lot of young guys coming through. We'll see.
We'll get to the over under later, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can't see us talking a ton about the Brewers besides our season previews, but we'll see. Maybe they do something else to surprise us. Another couple deals we got. Jock Peterson, Diamondbacks, 1 year, $12.5 million. There's your DH. I guess he could play some outfield if you need him to.
If you need to, I will always love Jock.
Special place in your heart.
Special place. The pearl necklace. We're them boys. Like I love me some Peterson, all right? And I think this is a big deal. Again, they're continuing to bolster up that lineup.
I love what they're doing down there.
I mean, I think that for you to say that they aren't contenders would be really
I think they tried to do away with the fluke thing, right? Or not do away, but like, hey, they way overperformed, right? They made their way through the playoffs.
Doubt. Yeah.
And they added. Right, they got better.
Yeah, I don't think there was any subtraction over there, right?
I
not
guess
really.
Not.
No, nothing significant.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. So
sorry, I'm not up on my Diamondbacks.
On your Diamondbacks knowledge, how dare you? No, so I do think that the Diamondbacks are a team to watch this year.
I'm with you.
I think there are 3 teams in the NL right now that are going to be a part of that conversation all year, and the Diamondbacks are one of them. So.
All right. We'll see if you put your money where your mouth is when the time comes. Blue Jays, Justin Turner, $13 million, 1 year.
You know what? The Blue Jays finally did something, and it was Justin Turner.
The Blue Jays guys are going to come after us.
I know, and I'm so sorry, but man, what a ho-hum move that is.
So I asked, and I don't think anybody responded, but I think I asked, it was like, how, like, were they ever in on anybody? Like, they were in on everybody, but then it was like,
they were rumored with everyone, but it doesn't seem like they were close.
Yeah. Like, there was, that Ohtani thing. Like, was that ever even as close as it? Like, somebody's got to write a book about that, right? Somebody needs to write a book, right? I don't know if you saw this. So while we're on the Blue Jays, we're gonna stoke the flames a little bit.
Oh boy,
their account, Blue Jays, like official account, posted that they now have cup holders in the 100 level of their stadium, because that's what the fans have been asking for.
Oh, good for
they found that to be a very important call out that they needed to make in the midst of spring training, that we're here to please the fans, and you guys got cup holders.
You're welcome.
So A, why the hell weren't they there to begin with? B, why are you even saying that? But hey, you know what? Good for you guys. I know they didn't make a ton of deals. They still have got some good players. We'll see where that all goes. Your favorite team, the Dodgers. Kershaw's back. He's not going to pitch till like mid-year at earliest.
Yeah.
This feels like, barring like the injury. Remember when like Roger Clemens used to just like hang out for a little while and then like
take some steroids and then come back out and be dominant? Yeah, I remember that.
You can't prove that. But what he would do is just kind of like hang out till like, I don't know, like June.
Yeah.
And somebody would call him, and then he'd go on this like minor league tour of like, he would just work his way through the minor league system and show up in like August and just shove it for who was it, the Astros, I think.
Yeah.
So like that's how it feels. Like it feels like that type of tour, because like Kershaw was great last year. Like like a 2.4 ERA.
Yeah, he definitely. You look at his stats from last year and think, oh well, he hasn't lost it yet, but he's a pitcher and. Once you fall off that
he
cliff,
never fell.
It's
I mean, he got
steep.
hurt, sure, but he never fell off.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It'll be interesting to find out.
Test.
Like, what he
I don't know
has
the
there.
answer.
Yeah.
How old is he?
35. No,
Nice.
that's probably too old. 35, finally.
36. Oh, nope, he's 35.
Hell
My guess
yeah.
was 36.
I am better than you, Chris.
88.
Hell yeah, awesome.
All right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I listen, it's tough to be afraid of him because he's not going to pitch for half the year. But if he does come back and is a third of what he was, he'll be hard to beat down the stretch. But it's okay. He'll come to the playoffs and pitch like shit, so I don't care.
I'm always Team Kershaw. So
I know you are, and
time.
good for you. But this does not scare me. I'm surprised he went back to the Dodgers, and part of me feels like he was
there or bust.
Yeah, welcome to the rest of your life. This is like your final years type of contract.
Yeah, it's worth a shot.
Good for him for getting that money, I guess.
And that brings it now. Let's call a spade a spade. We haven't done this in about a month. There have been a ton of other moves. So if you are offended that we didn't call out the likes of David Robertson, Robert Stevenson, Wandy Peralta, Phil Maytone, Carlos Santana, who I love by the way, and Ryan Brazier. Sorry, I'm not going to review all them, but I did just tell you they all signed, so you can go look them up if you want. But our last but not least, don't even know when it happened, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. Your other boy, Jorge Soler.
That ball still
San Francisco Giants, 3 years, $42 million.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good contract for him. In fact, that's more than I expected him to sign for. And it's the Giants, which is more than I expect them to pay.
They got money.
They have money, but they don't touch it. That's why I'm a little confused. But I'm excited. Obviously, Jorge will have that home run he hit against the Astros will be burnt into my brain forever. But there's an interesting stat, Chris, that either you or our buddy Doug pointed out. It was on Twitter, but I'm going to take credit here and talk about it. So the Giants have not had a 30-plus home run hitter since 2004.
That's remarkable.
That is 2 decades, my friend.
But it makes sense, right? Like, not a hitter's ballpark and all that type of stuff.
Tell that to Bonds.
Well, I mean...
and the steroids.
Stop. It's the greatest hitter of all time. That doesn't need any...
Sorry, I just like making you uncomfortable.
But another part of that actually same text thread was like, oh, man, like I hope his power plays. And like... in that park, it's tough. That kind of came with the 30 home run thing. And like the next clip I saw was him hitting a ball to like the concourse above the seats up there.
He's fine.
It's like he's gonna be okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen him hit a baseball. It goes far.
He's a monster.
Ball go far. Ball go very far.
Good for again. I like the Giants. Like I like them.
I need them to be good so that the Dodgers have somebody to worry about.
Yeah, like I find myself rooting for them more than like I did when they were winning World Series, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They just feel like they don't really have a guy, right? Like, I like Logan Webb.
Yeah.
But, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just kind of, whatever. Good for them. I don't know. I got nothing more.
They're trying to break
on
that
Jorge.
streak, like 20-year streak.
I liked Jorge Soler. I wanted him to be a Mariner. Once Mitch Garver
Of course,
came, that was over with. So again, took way too long for him to sign. He got a lot of money. Got close to 15 a year. And I thought we had probably closer to 13.
If I were to be like, what's your over under on home runs for him? What are you going to say it is?
He's going to break that streak. 31.
31. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to put it at 32. If I say it's 31 and a half, what do you do?
Under 31. I might bet the
under.
exact.
Okay.
We're going exact
you're
31 home
okay.
runs. Somebody bookmark that.
Okay.
I wrote that down. Not that I'm going to find this ever.
Yeah, we need to definitely timestamp that and keep it forever. Good luck. I hope he does well. I hope Jock does well. All those World Series guys will always be special. So. All
right, here we go. We got to spice this up a little bit because I feel like we're just going through the motions. We're just talking about free agents from like a month ago. These kind of get me excited in, I don't know, kind of like odd ways. You know my deal with wanting people to spend, but a few extensions that happened since the last time we recorded. Mm-hmm. Not a household name by any means, but Colt Keith of the Detroit Tigers. He signed a 6-year, $28.6 million deal. No, not huge, right? Not like anything crazy, but this proves the Tigers are not going to screw with the service time, right? They're just going to let the kid come up, hopefully. Mm-hmm. He's going to play. He has nothing to worry about. He's got guaranteed money. Is it a ton? No. There's a very good chance he could outperform that contract really soon.
Yep.
But they invested in the guy, and he's going to come up and play. Let him. If he plays himself out of the contract, he didn't get killed. I love it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't want to say that the Braves started this trend, but
they did.
But they did.
It's a similar thing.
Yeah, it's basically believing in your young studs, and it's going, hey, it's early, and you can either play this rookie contract out, and we save a lot of money now, and hopes that you become something amazing that you get $1 bazillion for, mm-hmm. or I can give you this. What at the time looks like a crap ton of money to you.
It is.
And guarantee it for the next 6 years, and then you go from there. And I actually love that approach more because it makes the contracts longer. Yeah. Like I love teams that have consistency. Sure. And if you can sign players for years at a time, that's going to be your team. You know what I mean?
That's your entire team.
So that's my entire. That's an entire team. I love it. Yes. But it is I think I love that more than the Dodgers and the evil empire. They're just going to go and spend $1 bazillion for 2 years or for 10 years in Ohtani's case. But you know what I mean? Like I said, I think it's great, and I think it's good for the kid. Hopefully he does well. And I mean, good for the
it's
Tigers
almost no pressure,
investing.
right? Like hypothetically, even if
pressure.
There is and there isn't.
I guess there isn't.
Right?
Yeah,
like you get in terms of contract, right? Like you don't have to be like, oh my God, I got to go win Rookie of the Year. I have to go do this. You just get to go out and play. And technically, right? So let's just make the hypothetical for a second. I know we're going way off on a tangent on Colt Keith, but this speaks to the bigger picture.
Right.
Like, let's just say you're the next up and coming. He's like their top prospect or second, something like that. And let's just say they don't call him up to begin the year. So now you just deal with this media speculation all season, or even if it's for 2 weeks that he's in AAA, you're just like, why is he there? Why didn't he come up? What happened? He must have had a bad spring. His attitude must be. There's just all these conversations, right? So he signs his name on the line. Now, even if he starts AAA, like maybe there's some murmurs, but it's like, we want him to go work. Like we're not manipulating anything. Like there's not. He needs to go work on X. It could be they can make it up for all I care. It kind of goes away.
It actually makes sense as, hey, he's actually doing something. Not he's doing something, but us as the front office are just trying to save money. I got you.
And I don't think they're gonna put him there. Like he probably has an opening day roster spot, probably in the lineup.
Have you seen the Tigers roster? Yeah,
there are a lot. I don't know. I followed a few people from our account, and I end up down these like Tigers rabbit holes.
Yeah,
they are excited about this team, and I whatever, man.
Cool.
So
it's cute.
Talking about young guy locking him up. Ooh. Now a completely different amount of money.
Where you're going.
Like an astronomical amount of money. Bobby Witt Jr., Kansas City Royals, $288 million over 11 years. And it could skyrocket from there. There's contract lingo. It can go to 14 years. He has opt-outs after 7, 8, and 9 years. Back up. First things first, Royals got 7 years to figure it the hell out.
Yep.
They're trying. They signed.
and he's easily their marquee player.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He's the top 10 player in baseball right now.
No, and I agree with that, but I'm just saying it good for them for locking him up.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, we've already teased. Hey, the Royals are doing stuff, but it's been very like ho hum.
Yeah,
and maybe it's because they know
we're about to
make this paycheck happen. So
that's a lot of money.
That over under keeps creeping higher on that win.
I'm under. I'm hard on under. Because it was like the last I checked, it was like an 18 win improvement over last year, and I'm like, I just don't think.
No way.
it was like, that's too many, right? Like that puts them at like 80 some or no. What, they're 56, so it's at 74. I think it was like 74. I was like, no way.
We initially said 60.
It's high.
Yeah, we said we would give them 10 more wins, so 64.
It was a lot.
I might go to 65 now.
Yeah, it's in the. Hang on, I'll find it.
Wait, what is that? 162 games? Yeah, so that's not 100 losses. So
no, they lost. Hang on.
Oh, they lost over 100 last year.
Yeah, 73.5 is their over.
Absolutely
right
not. No way.
Yeah, that's way too many.
That's too many.
Like again, I like what they did.
We're gonna drive to a state that allows us to bet, and we're gonna slam the under on that.
Yeah. I love it.
I can't wait.
There's a lot.
Carolina, hurry up.
Those fans are big on it too. Are big on the Royals, which is fine. Like I get it. They're going to be improved.
Yeah. Compared to last year, there's no way
they're not going to lose 100 games, but they're sure as shit not winning 74. I can't do it. No. I don't care how bad that division is or is supposed to be. There's just no way.
It doesn't matter how bad it is. They still beat the crap out of them last year.
I hear you.
And by the way, Witt was on that team last year.
Yeah. It's not like he's a new addition.
They didn't make their team better.
No, I'm with you. No, they got a little better. Their pitching got better, sure. Not getting 17 more. I'll give you like 70.
No.
But I'm saying it's still under. The under is still the play.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it more in the preview because that's probably the last to talk about the Royals. Minus the big move.
Correct.
Or hopefully nothing else crazy happens on their end. I almost said injury, and I don't know why I wanted to put that out in the world.
I don't know, man.
That's why I was rude. That's why I was tripping on my words there because I didn't want to say injury. Like that felt very negative.
Don't you put that voodoo on
That's what I'm
Ricky
saying.
Bobby.
Jose Altuve, 5 years, 125, staying with the Astros.
Okay.
Sure.
Yep.
Screw the Astros, but good for him.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Whatever.
You can't not sign that guy. So
that makes sense.
Yep.
That's all recap wise. Again, did we miss some? Probably. In my personal, professional opinion, I don't think there was anything else noteworthy in terms of signings.
But Chris, your boys did some things.
You almost forgot about me, man.
I did.
I can't believe
I'm so
this.
sorry.
So
not really.
It's time for the MEH-riners Minute, and they're not very meh right now. They made some good moves. I'm very happy about them. I'm excited, and we're here. So, number one, we got Jorge Polanco, second baseman, Minnesota Twins.
Mm-hmm.
Sure's up second base. Done deal.
Yep.
We've been linked to him for years. It really just bolsters that spot. No more Colt and Wong. He can't hurt us anymore. It's a great move.
Batman's gone.
Now, a lot of people weren't thrilled with giving up Justin Topa. Now, for those unfamiliar, who the hell is that guy? Very good reliever. To toot the Mariners' horn, like one thing they do very, very well is they develop pitching, specifically bullpen arms. There are a lot of guys that you just put your hands in the air, you're like, I don't know who that is. Season's over, and he had a sub-3 ERA, and you're like, okay, like works.
Cool.
So that's who he was.
Yep.
So that kind of hurt, maybe like a seventh inning guy. They flipped Anthony DeScalfani.
Finally.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it. We knew
that man's been on 5 teams now this offseason?
This will be his second. Well, whatever. His second trade. That's fine.
13.
He was a salary dump in this deal. I'm fine with it. Top 100 prospect Gabriel Gonzalez. Again, I'm going to shrug my shoulders at prospects. I don't know anything about them.
Yep.
We shared up second base. I'm happy with it. And then another minor league pitcher, Darren Bowen, hand up. I don't know much about him. Some Mariners people like him. I don't care. We got a second baseman.
Yeah.
End of that discussion.
How long do you have him for?
If I knew, I'd tell you.
Okay, gotcha.
I could.
It was a trade, so it's whatever's left on his contract. I just didn't know if it was.
Let's say 2 years. I don't know.
2 years sounds fine. You said shirt up, so I didn't know if there was an extension or anything that was.
Oh no, we're a year at a time here. We're coming from
it's the Mariners.
Yeah, we're coming from
MEH-riners.
Oh, we're in good shape. We got a little club option next year. Okay.
All right.
So he's good for next year.
There we go.
All right. We got a second baseman.
Now you're cooking. Let's go.
All right. So my apologies for not knowing that. That's bad podcasting. As sad as I could have been or was, whatever you want to call it, about Justin Topa, a couple days later, we went and got a man by the name of Gregory Santos. Who the hell is that? Chicago White Sox reliever. Crazy numbers on what the hell is that? We're going to cut that anyway. I can't think of it. So Baseball Savant. He's all red. You know how I send you that thing?
Yeah.
He's a ton of red. Real good.
Really good player.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good measurables. I don't know what that means, but red equals good. Gotcha. He's got a ton of them. So they traded prospect Zach Deloche, another reliever that really couldn't get it, do very much in the majors, Prelander Baroa. And apparently we trade draft picks in Major League Baseball now. We traded a second round pick. Sure.
Cool.
Whatever. That guy won't be in the majors till like 2030.
Correct.
Gregory Santos, solid reliever, going to take the place of Justin Topa. Again, when it comes to Mariners, I complain about a lot of things.
Can't complain
it's not bull. Yeah. I don't know who it is. Whatever. I can't say I watch very much of him with the White Sox, but I have complete faith that he's our seventh, potentially eighth inning guy, depending on how they move around a few people. I did get a report or saw some reports today that he's not completely healthy. I don't love that. But yeah, I guess he's just going to ease into spring here and that'll be that.
Yeah.
That's my Mariners roundup. Jorge Polanco, Gregory Santos. Mariners got better. I don't know what else to say. It'd be awesome if they signed one of the big guys left. They won't, but here's to more moves. We're moving forward.
Nice. Braves did nothing. Yeah. What else has happened in spring training that's worth talking about?
So, it's really weird. Like, when spring training starts, right, there's obviously excitement on 10, 20,
everyone thinks their team's going to win the World Series.
Yeah, it's a new season. It's a new day. You got pitchers and catchers reporting. The other, you know what, I'm going to put on, I'm just going to get grumpy for a second. It used to be, in the old days, where, hey, today's pitchers and catchers report day. Hey, today is everybody's at spring training, and that was a thing. Guys have been there for like a week already. They've all been doing shit.
People are proactive about getting down there.
they're working too hard, man.
Y'all chill.
You gotta take it easy out there.
We want to have days to celebrate.
So day one, right? Guys are reporting. I guess officially now, right? Yeah. Like you're probably getting physicals and all that. I guess that's what that'll mean,
right?
But your boy, Justin Verlander, with a little setback already. I guess they claim he's like a month behind or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much to read into that. We can lump him into Kershaw with the Clemens thing and just be like, hey, he's just going to ease into it, and you need him for the stretch run, and he'll be there hopefully.
Yeah.
That's
got to be the move at this point.
It just stinks to see those. I'm going to call them four guys. It's him, Scherzer, Kershaw, and unfortunately I have to lump DeGrom. I know he's not as old as those guys.
He's definitely not as old, but it feels like he is because of the injuries.
But it's like all those guys are banged up right now.
Yeah. Well, they're all old, man. They're all 30s.
I know, I get it, but it's just like a weird, thing to grasp. You're like, man, that's it. Because Scherzer he was trying like hell, but was pitching pretty well towards the end of the year. Yeah. DeGrom, I couldn't tell you. He hasn't pitched in 4 years. Verlander pitched well, all things considered. He always finds a way in Houston. It's kind of crazy.
That's why he's one of the best to ever do it. So what I think is interesting for us is we get to witness the changing of the guard, because that's what's happening. These guys have been studs and staples in the league for a very long time, and that's coming to a close, and it's I don't want to say messy, but it kind of is. The injuries, the will they, won't they, that's just kind of what the end of the career looks like for a professional pitcher.
What do we like to say? That everybody says the league's in good hands.
Right.
No, there's a lot of good pitchers out there. We won't suffer from lack of pitching, but those guys feel like, your typical workhorse.
Yeah.
I'm going to go take the ball. I don't care what manager says.
Right.
You're not taking me out of this.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm
like
not pitching 6 and then coming off.
Yeah,
the
like
mound.
what?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just, they're just a different breed of player.
Completely agree.
Back on. So we're gonna go hype train, and then probably back to. We're kind of gonna take this a little roller coaster.
Okay.
Did you see that Ohtani video?
I didn't see it, but I see people talking about it.
So
what happened?
Shohei's taking some BP. I guess his first, actual hacks in the cage, maybe on field. I don't know. He's probably been swinging. Who the hell knows? But he took it was 22 pitches. It might have been 22 swings. I don't know. I'm probably butchering this, but he hit 10 home runs. It's batting practice, but apparently he had an oblique. He's got the Tommy John thing going on.
Still hitting 10
Yeah, he's just a freak.
I mean,
he's just
maybe
a bionic
it was like
human.
a small baseball field. It was like just a rec.
It's probably one of those
field.
backfields or something, but I mean,
it's still probably far. Yeah, Ohtani's a beast. There's no doubt about that. I hope he is not as good as he looks to be.
he's just going to be hitting. He can't hurt you with his pitching arm,
but
yet,
he can still hurt me. Chris.
Yeah,
he can still
he
hurt
very
me.
much can. Man, he'll be fun to watch. And again,
No, he will. He will.
Somebody posts the Dodgers are marketing him more than the Angels ever did. I feel like I've seen more of him in the last.
The Angels are a terribly run franchise.
That's fair. That guy opened his mouth too recently. He's a clown. I forget. I don't even care. He wants a new stadium.
We
too.
referenced him in the interview about how who's their starting pitcher again?
Oh God, that dude Patrick Sandoval's their one. Yeah,
Wolf.
we kind of rag on them a little bit. You're right. I forgot about that. We're gonna keep this roller coaster going down a little bit.
Okay.
And then it's gonna go underground, and then we're gonna hit the interview.
Okay.
We are 10 days from an actual game being played, right? Spring training. From a spring training game.
Live ball, sure. Why not?
We've got Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell, Cody Bellinger still unsigned.
Man.
How?
I can tell you how.
Well,
yeah.
Don't think too much into it.
Yeah, hey, if you don't know already, I bet if you're a baseball person, you know what I'm about to say. He's a Boris guy.
They all are.
All of them. No wonder. What point do we get to that we say that man or that agency, because it's not just him, obviously. He can't represent that many players at once, but it is his name.
You'd be surprised.
There's no way that he's good for baseball.
I just don't like.
I mean, players need to get their money. I get it, and I want them to. But it feels like this is getting worse and worse each year. If it's a Boris guy, it's going to take longer. And it's going to cost a team way more money than they should have to pay. The Dodgers and the Braves have done a very good job at avoiding his guys because of this specific reason. And these players are hurting because of it. Bellinger's not taking BP. I mean, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's taking BP somewhere. But this guy should be on a team. This is an MVP level player.
Yeah, sure.
And he's not on a team.
I got top 15.
Oh, come on. Okay, I'm sorry.
But
top 15,
but
sure, whatever. But
the other
still,
thing
he should
is,
be on a roster.
They should be on a team. The other thing is it's not I love Blake Snell, but he's got the weirdest stats of all time. We talked about it, I'm not gonna go crazy, but it's just these guys have flaws, right? So if Snell was he has 2 Cy Youngs and then he's solid the rest of the time, he's signed, sealed, delivered, he'd already have all his money. But he's not. He's either the Cy Young or he's the 30th best pitcher in that league.
There's no in between.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I just don't understand. I get the Boris thing. I get he's telling them, but how far? They have to be so far off. And this is really retroactive here, but kind of another announcement we didn't make is they're doing a Netflix thing with the Red Sox, which is cool. Good for them. But the reason I bring that up is I find it I think it'd be super interesting to be around to have them behind the scenes of the trade deadline, a real life Moneyball. It's you say that because it's the Red Sox and they're not spending money, but that real life what happens when a trade goes down? How does that look? What happens? They're not going to do the phone call, but what does it look like?
Yeah,
they took us behind the scenes of draft rooms in the NFL and stuff like that. So it would be awesome to see some sort of contract negotiation. Again, is Boris going to let you do that? Probably not.
Yeah.
But you get my point where that could be a cool thing where somebody's yo, I kind of get how it works because now we're
Right.
just sitting back here like, is it five? Or are we talking about $5 million a year? Are we talking like, are they $100 million? Like how far?
Yeah.
Like
It
somebody offered Blake
far.
Somebody offered Blake Snell what $150 million for like 6 years. I keep saying if you give him $30 million a year, he'll sign the paper.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what's. I don't know.
I don't know if his agent will let him.
I said 6 years, 180.
Do you
He
think
signs.
the players are even hearing the offers, or Boris is just straight up going, "No, I'm not going to accept it." It doesn't even tell the players.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
I know
Yeah.
as if you're in real estate, you have to present the offer, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with
not apply.
Major League Baseball.
Yeah. And, anyways, I don't want to lament on him too much, but but to the Netflix thing, which I'm excited.
That's
Red
cool.
Sox, that I want the Red Sox to be good. So I love that they're getting some attention there. It's not till 2025, so we're not going to get to see it this year. But
But it's going to be on this year, isn't it? Like they're going to tape this year.
Oh, I
and
think they're
release.
taping this. I don't know what's breaking down, but we don't see it won't actually be on Netflix till next year.
Yeah, sure.
But it's interesting because Netflix, there's been a huge boom in popularity for F1, and it's because of that Netflix special, right? Which is
There's also like COVID stuff though too. I think that had so much
yes
to do
and
with
no,
it.
but
I watched F1 there for a little bit. Now I don't give a rat's ass.
okay. I mean that's fair, but I don't. I mean, and it could be like a culmination of a couple of different things, but I do feel like the Netflix special is really what put it over the edge. Golf is doing the same thing now with the was it Full Swing or whatever,
Yep.
And it's starting to create more talk around that. And I'm glad baseball is doing the same thing. Obviously, baseball is the old man sport traditionally, so I'm glad they're trying to get into the youngins and try to continue to grow the game that way. So it'll be
cool.
fun.
It is sad that the Red Sox like knew this. It's not like it was sprung on them.
Yeah.
And still haven't done jack shit.
Yeah,
Maybe
Well,
they get Jordan Montgomery, but
I hear that. I mean, the article I read said that they've been in talks for forever.
that's what I'm saying, and they still have done nothing to like make it a better product. Final note, not spring training related. I feel like I should be happy about this. Rob Manfred has come out and stated that he will not seek another term. I know that sounds like presidential,
Right.
As commissioner after 2029. So it feels close, but it feels far. And like
That's a funny. Like, I won't do this anymore. In
5 years
in
from
a
now.
decade.
Yeah, like he could be dead by then. Who the hell knows?
that's pretty
But
funny.
anyway,
I mean,
his
cool.
reign will be over. Who takes over? No idea. We'll still be around speculating all of that when the time comes.
1,000%. No, I think the only other big topic coming out of spring training is how fucking terrible Nike is when it comes to jerseys and even the pants are screwed up. Like, what is happening? Why do these professional leagues let Nike come in and create dog shit template jerseys for these teams? Like, I understand maybe it's not a big deal to everyone, but to me, like the crest, if you're a soccer person, the crest, if you're a baseball person, the logo, if you're a football person, it's the colors. Like, why would you let them screw that up? Like, and it might just be nitpicky stuff, but in case you haven't seen, the jerseys look terrible. They look like replica from overseas type jerseys. And it's just not okay. And I don't understand why this continues to happen and why sports continue to trust Nike to do anything, because it's all dog shit. Just make shoes, Nike. You do that really well. Stop making apparel and jerseys because you're just ruining it. Sorry.
I don't I don't know who to blame, because my very I was a professional 4 seconds ago, but now I'm unprofessional. A very unprofessional opinion on the or understanding on this is Nike is licensing their I don't know the phrase, their logo to Fanatics. So I don't know who's making these things. Like I would assume Nike's still passing it, but at bare minimum, Nike at work, like best case, Nike's just giving them their logo to put on this thing. But I can't assume a company like Nike's just letting them do that. But that Fanatics is making them. Like I think I liked a couple things. I'll try and share a few more things on X. after the episode so you guys can see what we're talking about. But it's like the names are smaller and
Tiny.
And if you're familiar with the jersey at all, like the little MLB logo used to be kind of like basically at your neck. There was this little crevice, we'll call it, for it, and they moved that down, and that essentially moved everything else down, and now the jerseys kind of have like a, I don't know, like a halo to them, or the names have like a halo. They look like shit.
They look awful.
You could get. I would be getting your jersey from DH Gate this year. You kind of it's a bad move.
Yeah, and I mean they change where the piping is on a lot of the jerseys. So like I hate the Evil Empire. But they have the same problem we do, where the piping goes down the front of the shirt where the buttons are, and they've moved for whatever reason the font, or they changed the size. I don't know, but it's the way it's now falling is it's breaking up letters in really gross ways. And if you've played baseball and you've put one of these jerseys on, they're already kind of strange in the first place because there's this big sewed on name. But now, if it breaks up in weird places, it just looks bad.
Dodgers looks bad.
The Dodgers looks real bad.
It's like the D's cut like right in the middle. It's kind of crazy.
And for the Braves, they moved it over so that the piping is inside the A, so the A looks like filled in. It just doesn't make sense.
And what they did, and I don't think they're Nike. I don't know who does the hats. Probably New Era.
Yeah.
They released the new batting practice and spring training hats.
Now,
and those are awesome.
Those are awesome.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'd say 85% of them are really good.
The ones that suck, the Yankees, obviously, because they don't like doing anything fun. The Dodgers suck because also don't like doing anything fun. Who else was really bad?
We're not looking at the pictures, so this is all off memory.
Yeah,
somebody did real bad.
Like
the Angels didn't do anything.
The Angels didn't.
They didn't even try.
Yeah, and DC is the Nationals. The Nationals have DC on it, and
know.
it was meh.
Yeah.
So those suck. But all the other
I hate
ones,
to say it, the A's one is kind of cool. I forget which one it was. It had
A's
the elephant
cool.
on there.
Yeah,
but you can't
A's
support
really cool.
the A's right now.
No, that's the problem.
I don't want to support.
Stop giving the A's cool shit.
I don't want to give that guy money.
I don't want.
I love that color green.
The green and yellow just pops. I love it.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean the Diamondbacks looks cool.
I love that color for them. Like that. I don't even know. It's like a bluish,
that light blue. Yeah. The Marlins looking like the old school colors. Whoo, that's sick.
They don't spend any money either.
No, they don't. They spend it on cool jerseys, I guess.
Yeah.
So, I definitely there's so if you haven't looked at those, check them out. The Braves one is kind of meh. But I've seen worse. So, I won't be buying any of them.
So good work on the hats. I might grab a hat or two. I'm a fan of those jerseys. I'm out.
I won't be buying a jersey.
Fortunately, I was able to grab a couple Mariners ones when I was out there last year, so kind of got in before. No, but if so, I mean, again, we're just gonna order some weird ones.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to be going to eBay. And it depends. There's still inventory from last year, right? So it's finding those and getting those and not buying this new absolute dog shit.
And the other thing is though, like a bunch of players, I saw Trout, I saw Corbin Carroll, are like, these jerseys are awesome. They're like talking about like, I don't know, some moisture wicking nonsense technology or something. Right. I'm like, what? Like, you already got like $400 million. You really need this extra like 10? like the answer is yes, but it's like, really? Like, do you have to like stick by Nike no matter what? Like, just tell me the jersey sucks. Like, make me feel like you're not the same as me. I get that. Like, somebody's got to say it sucks, right?
I hope they do, but okay. So I'm off my jersey logo kick because I care about that almost as much as I do the actual game. So next on our agenda is our interview with Barstool Sports RDT, the Orioles expert. Now, know that this was done this Monday, so I believe that's the 11th. Obviously, in traditional Coach's Sons podcast, things have happened since then, and we did not address those. So, Chris, run down what we did not talk about that's happened after the interview real quick before we play it.
So, today, a big news dump. It's the 15th. Big news dump, first day of camp for the O's. And we have John Means being set back about a month. So he's our number 4 starter, right? Supposedly, and everybody's happy because he's their number 4. I do think we talk about that with RDT.
He's mentioned, yep.
Gunnar Henderson's got an oblique. In theory, those two should be fine, but it's
obliques,
concerning.
man, soft tissue.
Agreed, but not as much concern there.
Yep.
The biggest one is Kyle Bradish has a UCL injury.
Yikes.
Now, that's typically related to Tommy John.
Yep.
But apparently he's already gotten treated for this. So some sort of shot, and is going to pitch through it.
Yeah.
My understanding is it can be it's scary. People aren't thrilled about it. It could be a precursor to Tommy John. I reached out separately to RDT today, and I said, hey, like, if they knew about this, like, what are the chances Burns was in reaction to that? The Burns trade. He actually said he thought the same thing, but that is not true. Gotcha. They were they wanted the Burns deal done anyway, completely unrelated to Bradish.
Yeah.
So
I think he even mentions in the interview it's
been going on for months, right?
Like
but basically confirmed because apparently they knew about this Bradish thing for a while
that's
too.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But that is not what the reports are, at least coming from him, from his sources. Yeah. But that begs the question of, now do they go try and replace Bradish?
Yeah.
Time will tell. It's still a little early, but keep your eyes peeled for some of these these arms that are going to probably find landing spots as more injuries come up.
Yeah. Man, I can't imagine trying to pitch through that crap, but I mean, steroids are a hell of a drug. So
he's going to give it hell.
Yep.
But again, unfortunately, we did the interview pre-planned on Monday. It's still a great interview. Without further ado, here's RDT.
Hit it.
We are here with Barstool RDT. This is our first ever interview on the Coach's Sons podcast.
Moving on up.
We're grateful. But we'll just start with a quick welcome. Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be the first guest. So
we deliberated a lot over who it should be, and finally I was like, I think I kind of reached out to this Orioles guy a few times on my personal account. We'll see if he'll do it, and here we are. So again, much appreciated, and we're gonna get right into it. Hopefully, some good things. We're gonna chat up a lot of Orioles stuff here. So hopefully everybody sticks around for that.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. Like, I mean, we're spamming everyone, seeing who's actually going to interact with us. So we appreciate the interaction and want to do everything we can to give you as much time to talk about your Orioles as we can. So our podcast is called Coach's Sons Podcast, and it took us a good couple years to come up with this name, it feels like. But we both connected with the fact that your parent, your guardian, someone that you consider a mentor, always ends up coaching you at some point, right? And that's something I think a lot of us have in common. Do you have that coach's son type story in your childhood at all?
It was never my dad, like coaching. It was our neighbor who, again, was like a second dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he always coached, and he used to. He would always tell us, and I was best friends with his sons. So again, I was always on their team. It was easy for travel and all that. But he used to always tell us, if we tucked our ears into that, I'm a small guy. I'm like 5'6", maybe 5'7" on a good day. So like as a child, I was puny. And like the hat would never fit me. So I used to tuck my ears into the hat. And again, I mean, I'm 5 or 6 years old, and he would be like, our coach Brian would be like, if you tuck your hat in, I'm benching you. You're not playing. This is a 5-year-old. And again, I mean, I've told my friends this over and over again. I've seen this guy's bare ass more than I've seen my own. Like, that's the relationship that like his family and my family have.
Right.
So, I had no problem with him being like, untuck your ears, you dork. Like, wear the hat the normal way. But I'm sure there were other parents like, that's not even his kid. He's talking to them like that. So, it was my dad's best friend. And
that's awesome.
Again, yeah, my best friend's dad growing up. But now I'm on the other side where like I'm helping coach my daughter's t-ball team and stuff like that. So I'm seeing it from that angle now. So
are you telling them not to tuck the hat in? Is that...
I haven't said anything about that. I see it and I just like crack up because I'm like, I would have got reamed out in right field or left field for having my ears tucked in. But I'll give them a little more. It was cold. It was fall ball. So again, I understand you got to keep warm somehow. So I'll let that go for fall ball.
Gotcha. Chris has that same problem. He has the tiniest head I've ever seen. So
it's like a 7. It's like a 7 1/4, maybe.
I have a 6 7/8 hat. Like that, my hat that I wear.
A 6, that's small. Yeah.
I used to be 7 1/4, and then I slowly have gone down to a 7. Now I'm back. I was like 6 7/8, and then I'm back up to a 7. So like the hats, they all fit different, obviously.
do.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
again, like I have friends who, like 7 3/8, and I'm just like 6
Yeah.
7/8. Like I have a child's head. I have to go to like Kids Lids or Kids Foot Locker in the mall to get a hat.
The way it happened with me is my dad, I used to let my friends or his friends coach, and then he got tired of it, and then so he started coaching after that.
Yeah, see? You go through the ringer for a couple of years, and you're like, all right, I did it, I got it. I've eaten enough little mini bags of Cheetos and Capri Suns to like hold me over. All right,
I could anybody could coach a little league team to an extent. Well, maybe farm league or whatever, that lower one. Maybe not little league. That gets a little crazy.
It's a little competitive there for sure. All right, well, RDT, thank you again. And one of the main reasons we have you here is to talk about the Orioles. Obviously, 100 wins last year. It's a big deal. And then you get a brand new owner.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes out and he gets one of the bigger names and when it comes to pitching. So how fucking excited are you right now?
It's been I blogged it the other day or a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, this has been the most exciting time of my life as a Baltimore Oriole fan. And like I got some shit from like Carabas and all them because they're like, oh, what a loser thing to say, like we've won 4 World Series, whatever it is, in the last 20 years, and this and that, and I'm just like, listen, like I get it, but like that hasn't been the case for the Orioles. Like I mean, I remember being in Camden Yards in 1996 for the ALCS when the Yankees, that was the Jeffrey Mayer series. And like, that's my first real like memory of, I remember Cal and the streak and all that, but like being in the stadium, feeling it rock. And I was like, this is awesome. So it's like, again, it's like, I've had very few, I don't know, just major moments like in Orioles. They've all been bad. It's been like the downfall of Davis, the trade of Manny. Like, again, we had 2012 and 14 and 16 and all that. But again, like, I mean, 18 through 21 were awful, just god awful. So, yeah, it's massive. Again, the Angelos is the black cloud that we never thought would get away from us. And I've compared it a couple times to like the scene in Forrest Gump when they're walking through Vietnam and it's just dumping rain. And then out of nowhere, it just stops and it's sunny.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's what, like that last 2 weeks ago or whatever, that's exactly what it was. Like we never thought that the rain would end and then out of nowhere, just nowhere, like it just came. And then same thing 2 days later with the Burns deal. I mean, it
was quick.
It's been, I mean, that's the biggest trade for the Orioles since Frank Robinson. Like it's a massive, massive trade. So it was just two blockbuster back-to-back like moments for Orioles fans. And again, I'm not a Ravens fan, but 2 days after the Ravens get their chests kicked in against the Chiefs and just they don't show up, then this happens. I have friends who are like die hard Ravens fans, and they were like, it's not that bad now. I'm perfectly fine. Like this, we have a new owner. Like this
Things
is
are
perfectly
okay.
So yeah.
Was the owner thing, I mean, it was out of nowhere. Was there any rumblings at all that this was going to happen, could happen? Because as a non-Orioles fan, I saw the news, was like, I didn't know that was even a thing that was on anyone's radar. So
yeah. So there was a note of we got the article came out in Bloomberg in maybe like middle of December, maybe like closer towards Christmas. And it was like, oh, billionaire David Rubenstein is exploring the sale or, buying the Orioles. And everyone's like, oh, this is fun. And, we had fun with it, but it's also like, oh, it's just a rumor. And right away, John Angelos, because that's when they were in the middle of the lease thing with the state and the governor. And it was just so ugly. And right away, the governor, like, I think they said John Angelos called the governor, Wes Moore, and was like, hey, just to let you know, like, we're not planning on selling. Like, I'm going to be here. We're going to own it. And again, Angelos, I mean, he's just he's daddy's money boy. Like he's just that through and through, and he just lies through his teeth. And we've seen it countless times, multiple times over the last couple of years. But so again, when he kind of shot it down, everyone was like, well, that was fun, So the name Ruben, like he was on the radar. It was definitely on the radar. But like again, a couple of weeks had passed and it had died down, and I had gotten a text maybe 2 or 3 weeks earlier that was like, hey, the Orioles, just to let you know, like they're looking to sell to a minority group. they're probably going to own about 15%. And then when Peter ends up dying, John's dad, Peter, the original, he bought the team in 93. Yeah. 94, he has really, really bad dementia. He fell in like 2018 and just has not been, it's pretty much a miracle that he's alive now. But the whole thing was like, they'll buy the remainder of the shares when he dies. And, who knows when that could be, when the sale will go through. And it's like, okay, I'll put a sticky note, I'll bookmark that and I'll revisit it later. But then again, that Tuesday night, it came out of nowhere and just, that's on awesome. pucknews.com, which I had never even heard of. Like, I was like, what is this? And like, I remember I had a tweet typed out being like, I don't really know if I believe this. Like, I would be cautious. Like, I don't really want to get excited. And then I got some texts from like people in the organization being like, this is the real deal. Like, this is all systems go. And I was like, delete the tweet. Like, we're back, baby. This is it. Like, we're going, we're full throttle. This is what we've been waiting on. So yeah, again, like we had it in the back of our mind, but like there was no like, hey, stuff is happening in the warehouse. We think this may happen soon. It just dropped out of nowhere.
That's awesome. Gotta love that surprise news for sure. And then getting Burns immediately after that, which, by the way, I don't know if you've listened to our episodes. Chris, we had an episode that he called
all over that
that this would happen. I think it was more of a
wishful thinking. I wanted it to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We throw shit to the wall all the time and see what
you got it.
If it sticks, you're right then,
exactly. Good. So, what is it like to get a premier arm to already young and talented team? Like, what are your expectations? We're going to get into like the weeds, but like from just zooming out, what are your expectations going into the year?
He's automatically, he's the best pitcher that the Orioles have had since Mike Mussina in the mid-90s, and he was incredible. Bedard was very, very good. Sorry to, really rub that in your face, but Bedard was good. He's no Corbin. Corbin Burns has been a horse. He's been with the Orioles if needed for years and years and years. And for the last couple of years, they've gotten these veteran just guys. They've got, it's Tommy Malone, I think another Mariner great. Tommy Malone. Andrew Kashner, like Kyle Gibson, it's a guy 2 years ago, Jordan Lyles. It's just these same kind of guys over and over and over. They're the same generic white person. Yep. It's just different. Yeah, they just have different names. But again, we've needed that true ace. And I love John Means. I think he's obviously getting older and coming off the Tommy John it was a long recovery for him. I love Grayson Rodriguez. I think he's a real deal. He's not a true polished number one yet. Same thing with Kyle Bradish, who finished fourth in the Cy Young. But Corbin Burns is that legitimate top of the rotation anywhere in baseball except for New York and maybe Texas when those guys are healthy down there. Mm-hmm. Every other team in baseball, he would be their ace on their starter on opening day. And we've never really had that. And again, the guy who gives you 30 to 33 starts a year, strikes out 240, doesn't give up gives up home runs, but the left field wall at Camden is going to help him. So this is new to us as like, again, this kind of generation of Orioles fans. My dad is a Yankee fan, but he remembers Palmer and, McGregor and Mike Flanagan and guys like that who were true legit aces. We've never had this. So I'm expecting, I expect big things out of him, especially with him working with Adley. Adley is a godsend for pitchers. I think I would probably have like a 4 or 5 ERA pitching to Adley. I think he's that good where he can work with a pitching staff. So again, this is uncharted territory for us, and no offense to Bradish and Grayson, but like they were great. But again, you saw what they did in the playoffs. They didn't really scare anyone. And Corbin Burns is a legitimate, oh shit, how do we sit down and hit this guy? This is a guy who can go 8 scoreless versus us. Like, what do we do? So it's great. It's such a big, the trickle down effect is massive because again, who better to learn from than a guy like Burns? Mm-hmm. But John Means is legitimately their 4th starter. Like that's very, very good.
That's
like,
also rotation.
Again, I love Means, but him as your 4 is just incredible. So yeah, it's just a massive, I can't say enough about how big that move was.
Yeah.
So for all this excitement, I'm going to be as my team implies, Mariners, I'm going to be a pessimist about this. Mm-hmm. At what, this all happens in 48 hours. The greatest things, the 2 huge moves for you in terms of, Angelos just wouldn't spend money, none of that. And now we go and get, the top available pitcher, arguably a top 5 pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else has to happen in the near term for you to be like, yeah, Rubenstein's different, right? The honeymoon phase is over, right? He basically bought himself time with that Burns deal. Because if he didn't, all you'd be asking for is extensions for Adley, for all of these young bucks that are coming through. So like, when does that start to be like, hey, we need to be thinking about this? Or is it tunnel vision? Let's go all in. This is our year, and we figure it out after that.
It's tough because he doesn't even own the team yet. Like the owners haven't voted on it. So like, that's the thing. It's like, and I believe Mike Elias, because I got told this after the trade where they said, because everyone was like, oh, it's no coincidence that at 48 hours after the owner, he says he's going to sell, this trade happens.
Yeah.
And the guys I talked to said this has been in the works since at least early December. And Elias said in the press conference, he goes, we started talking with Milwaukee the 2 seconds after Texas won the World Series. The second they were allowed to, they called Milwaukee. And I believe him. But again, it's just like, it's a funky concept. It's just a weird coincidence, I guess. But I think you nailed it. I think it's the extensions. I think it's going out and showing your guys. It's Gunnar, it's Adley, it's Grayson, it's Jackson, who hasn't even really put on an Orioles uniform yet. The only tough part is the 2 of those guys I named are Scott Boras guys. And yeah, Altuve just signed his extension. He's a Boras guy. I mean, Gunnar and Jackson are both, those guys are legitimate game-changing superstars who are 22 and 20 years old, 23 and 20 years old, who are going to get massive, massive paydays. And Adley is probably more doable to get an extension done. Again, he's older. He's 26. So again, he could get an 8-year deal, and it's probably his one big contract. Gunnar and Jackson, they could get 2 big deals. But that's it for me, is going out and showing that you're going to spend money. And again, I think it starts with keeping your young guys, your young core. We've seen it with Atlanta. They do a great job of it over and over and over and over, and getting these guys to sign like 14-year deals for like $13 million.
For pennies.
Like, oh, cool. Ozzy Albies is actually paying us to play. Like,
he absolutely is.
But,
he's paying rent.
Yeah. It's stuff like that. And I think he will do it. I don't think he's 70. He's 75 years old. Like, he's not in this, it's not like he's 40 and has daddy's money and is like, I have all the time in the world. I think he knows, hey, I'm not going to be around for much longer. I want to see a team. I want to see the team win when I'm here. And the Padres kind of had that with their owner before he died. He said, I've beaten cancer 2 or 3 times. I think he said, he goes, I just want to win. And again, what did he do?
I love that.
He signed Tatis. He signed Machado. He traded for this guy. He traded for Hader, all these guys. So I love it too, because again, as an owner, that's what you want. I want my owner to want to win a baseball game and the championship, and not just look at it as like a way to, I'm going to make money off this. Like, and if we win, we win, and so, yeah, but I think it starts with the, I think it's paying your young guys, showing them, hey, you're the core, we'll build around you, but you guys are the ones that are going to, kind of kickstart this.
I love that mentality, right? Like, go win now, right? Like, to me, baseball's a little different. Your windows are way different, but you win me a championship, you've got a long time before I'm going to be sour with you about
that leash gets longer. Yeah.
Right. And you can't go lose 100 games the next year, but to an extent, I mean, even if you're Royals fans, like, yes, now it's time. You're like, that was way too long ago. Now it's time to start winning, right? They're trying to right the ship. They did the thing with Witt. But I think you guys are in a unique spot where you're practically all of these young guys that come up are good. And that's a testament to your development teams and all of that. Like, I just don't comprehend how every single one of these guys is good, which is going to lead to my next question is, like, who of these top prospects do you find most dispensable to grow Major League to make this a championship roster? Not to say that it isn't, but it's like you got 5 top 100s, and number 1, obviously Jackson's not included, right? We're not going to talk about him.
Not touching him.
He's untouchable. But from there, like, who's dispensable to be like, we need to go win? And then an add on to that, I know this is a long-winded question, is I was getting into it with somebody about Santander. MLB Network posted like, oh, he's, included in trade rooms. Like, why would we ever trade this guy? Like, I get he's on his last year of the deal, but it just doesn't add up to me in terms of what he's going to bring to you guys.
Yeah, I love Santander. Again, he's older. I mean, he's been around, but all he does is hit like mid-30s home runs. He actually plays like sneaky good defense. He was a Gold Glove candidate in 2020, which doesn't really mean anything, but like he has like a sneaky good like arm in right field, and he plays okay. He's not going to win, he's nothing special, but he's good. But he's definitely expendable. Austin Hayes, again, he started the All-Star game last year, and he's not a prospect, but they could easily trade him and go younger because they have Colton Cowser, again, another young expendable guy who he came up. I love Colton too. I think he's a great kid. I think he's going to be a really good player, but he did not play well last year when he came up. He struggled. Sent him down to AAA. He ends up, what does he do? He hits a 455-foot home run, dead center, left on left, in the AAA championship game to put the tide up and win that game. He's expendable. They got a guy, Heston Kjerstad, who was taken number 2 overall in the 2020 draft, who I famously had tweeted, if the Orioles don't draft Austin Martin, I'll eat this tweet. They didn't draft him, obviously. I had to eat my tweet. I put it on a cake, and I went on when it was starting 9 with Dallas and Jared, and they had no idea what I was doing, and I just had the tweet printed on a cake. And Dallas was like, "All right, let's see you eat this piece of paper." And I just turned the camera around. I had a fork and a knife, and I just went to town. And Dallas was like, "You motherfucker! I can't believe you did this to me." Blah blah blah. But they drafted, again, they drafted him. He had COVID. He had the myocarditis, so he was. He sped. He missed a full year and a half of baseball, but now he's up and he played well at the end of last year. Had a big home run. He had a big game in their clincher. He's another guy who's expendable, a lefty hitter who can play the outfield. But he has legit 40 home run power. They have a guy, Kobe Mayo, who's a monster at third base. I met him a couple of weeks ago for the first time. He's like 6'5", 230
so he's a big
pounds,
kid, right? Yeah.
Massive. Yeah. And I mean, he went to the same high school as Anthony Rizzo. So he posts pictures of them working out all the time. He has like 2 or 3 inches on Rizzo. I mean, and again, this is a kid who's 22. It's crazy. So really any of those guys, I mean, they could trade any of them and put together a package just like they did with DL and Joey Ortiz. They also have Ramon, Urias, who won a Gold Glove 2 years ago at third base. You could trade him. He won a Gold Glove 2 years ago, and he's not going to play. Like, they just don't have room for him now with Gunnar and Jackson and Westberg. So to answer your question, again, it's a long-winded question with a long-winded answer. It's like 8 different guys they could trade. Again, they just traded 2 of their top 10 guys, and they're still the number 1 farm system in baseball. It's
still
crazy.
Yeah.
You don't see depth like this. And again, like you said, everyone works out. We're not used to this. We're used to a Dylan Bundy. Oh, okay, Dylan Bundy. Sure, great. Go back to Brad Bergeson and all these, Matt Hobgood, who was taken ahead of Trout. I
don't even know who that
Matt
is.
Wieters. Again, I love Wieters, but even he was, he made 4 All-Star teams, won 2 Gold Gloves, and people think he's a bust.
Didn't you get Bradish back for Bundy?
They got Bradish and 3 other guys. So, and that's the thing. The other 3, it was a 4-for-1 deal. None of the other 3 guys, I think, are in baseball. I think they were all terrible. But yeah, they got Kyle Bradish for Dylan Bundy pretty much straight up, which is incredible. And I think that was the first trade Mike Elias made, which is again, if I don't know what else you can say about him. That right there proves his point. But yeah, again, long-winded answer. There's 8 or 9 guys they could trade, and the team would somehow get better. And it's just crazy how that happens.
So, but we saw other teams in your division make pretty massive moves, right? Obviously, the Evil Empire went out and did a ton, right? So I think it's easy to say they're your top competitor. I mean, and they're in your division, right? So is there fear of the Evil Empire? Are there other teams in the AL that you're that we're going to have a hard time getting past those guys? What's your kind of overall feeling towards where are we going to end up this year, in the AL?
So, I mean, you can never count out the Rays. I don't care.
That's fair.
Who they have, what their payroll is.
They figure it out.
They're going to win 93 games, and they're going to be hanging around, and it just doesn't matter. It literally does not matter who they put out there. They're going to win 93 games and be there in October. I think besides for the Yankees, I think it's the Rangers too. Obviously, I mean, that lineup just hits. That's all they do is hit. And like Seager's incredible. Dolis Garcia's incredible. Again, I mean, their big question mark is their pitching staff because Jordan Montgomery could sign there. I still think he's going to re-sign there. But again, DeGrom, who knows what he's going to be. Scherzer, he's coming back midway through the year. But outside of them, again, I think the Mariners have a chance. They're quietly putting stuff together.
Don't patronize
they're
me.
good. Again, they're a good team, and I mean Houston has to be there too. But
Right.
the Yankees, I mean, you look at that lineup outside of Judge and Soto, and it's like, okay, is Giancarlo going to beat you? Is DJ LeMahieu going to beat you now? Like Jason Dominguez comes back, a couple months into the season. They don't have the boppers that they used to. Again, I mean, I'm not. And it's weird because, again, for the last 35 years, I've been scared of the Yankees lineup. And like last year, I was like, it was like the scene in Home Alone. I think I tweeted this GIF out a bunch being like, you know what? I'm not afraid anymore. Like, I don't, when awesome. The old guy and he's just like, I'm not afraid anymore. Like, come out and get me. That's us being like, listen, again, Judge has hit 58 billion home runs. Same thing with Gleyber Torres. He's hit like 2 home runs since that 2019 or 18 season where he hit like 30 against the Orioles. But I'm not afraid of them anymore. And the Yankees rotation, again, I mean, it's Garrett Cole is the best pitcher in baseball.
Yep.
I think that's, you can't debate that. They got Stroman. They got Rodon, who I think Rodon should bounce back and have a good year. But what if he doesn't? Maybe he doesn't. And again, Clark Schmidt, all right, cool. Like we've seen him over and over. Nestor Cortez, okay, he had one good year, and then he was awful and hurt last year. So, I mean, any of those guys, Houston's going to be there. Yankees are going to be there. Texas should be there, and probably the Orioles and Rays. Who knows what the Blue Jays will end up doing? But I think those will be the teams. But with this team right now, and it may just be me riding that high. I'm like, I bring on anyone. I'm not scared. I don't care. Bring them on.
We're gonna clip the hell out of that, by the way. So you just be ready.
Do it.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, okay, so obviously feeling very confident. So who are the key players on your team that have to be consistent and perform well for you to keep that confidence?
I think it starts with Adley.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of a chalk answer.
Right.
The team went as he went last year. And again, the only time they got swept all last year. I mean, the playoffs were the first time that Adley's been swept as an Oriole. They had not got swept all last year. They didn't get swept going back to the May before when he got called up. They just have a knack. When he goes, they go. Same thing with Gunnar. And then pitching wise, I think a guy like Bradish. I mean, whenever he is on and he gets these quality starts back to back to back, you see it all the time where it's like momentum is next day starting pitcher, and it's just like he always kind of seemed to be the guy when you needed 7 strong innings of 8 Ks and 1 hit and, a walk and, 0 runs, 1 run. He was the guy to get that for them. So I think he's kind of the same thing on the pitching end. But I think with the bat, it's got to be Adley. Again, he's the straw that stirs the drink. Same thing with Cedric Mullins. Again, I could say it about so many different guys.
Right.
When Ced's going well, it's going. And he really seems to be the straw that stirs the drink.
He robbed us of a game last year. Preposterous, 2 innings.
That was
I was so excited, and he ripped my heart out twice. It was unbelievable.
That was awesome.
Just a quick side note. I asked a faint question to Jim Palmer. No idea if it's actually him, but it says it is. He did say that Adley will be the one of the core that gets an MVP. He'd be the first one to do it. And I thinking more about it, it's like, will we give it to a catcher with all the, the data and stats, right? Like, I feel like catchers aren't, as appreciated, not like because he's not going to hit 350 like like Mauer did, but it would be interesting to see that come true, right? You guys are going to go as Adley goes. That's just, tried and true. I'm going to test you really quick off the rip. What do you think, or how do you want to see the opening day lineup look?
I would like. Who are they playing? They're playing the Angels. I don't even know who their opening day starter is going to be. Let's just say they're facing a righty. So I'll go Adley to lead off. I'll go Gunnar second. I like Santander third. Sees a lot of pitches. I'll go Mountcastle 4. Hayes 5. Am I missing? Westberg 6. So that leaves. I'll go. Did I say Hayes?
I don't
Did I
think
say
so.
Hayes? I don't think I. So I'll go Hayes at 7. Jackson at 8.
Oh, starting.
That's what I was
And
waiting
then
for.
Cedric at.
Okay.
I was waiting for
yeah,
that.
I've said that for months. I think Jackson's your starting opening day second baseman.
Wow. Okay.
You scared me with Westberg.
So-
I was like, he's leaving Jackson out.
Yeah.
But you got Westberg at 3rd,
Yeah.
right? All right.
Yeah, I think Westberg will be at 3rd, Gunnar at short, and then Jackson at 2nd.
Starting.
So I would
Okay.
love that. Again, I think that is a perfect like bottom of the order guy. Again, he has speed, he can get on, and then you just roll that bad boy over for Adley, and then again it's 20 home run power, 35 home run power, 35 home run power, 35 home run power there. And then again you have Heston Kjerstad on your bench.
I like your team. It's unfortunate that I like them because they're the prime, competition. And then that whole that whole Felix thing was it was crazy between the two fan bases. So Andrew, if you weren't aware, somebody just I forget how it all started, but basically somebody called Felix Bautista King Felix.
Okay.
And then it just like somebody from Seattle, I forget his name, got super sour about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy. He got super sour about it. And then he got real mad, and then Orioles fan just ran with it. And then, Felix Bautista gave up he gives up like 1 run every month or something, if that. Yeah, so he would come in and just shut Seattle down. And it's like, well, that's unfortunate.
Well, he gave up the home run in the All-Star game to lose it. And everyone was like, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
First of Bautista. And it was like, this game doesn't matter. Like, I don't care about it. Who cares? Like, I'd rather him give up a home run now. It was his first home run given up in like 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And like, I had Mariners fans like dancing on my grave. And it was like, the Orioles are going to win 100 games this year. I don't give a shit about the All-Star game.
Absolutely.
But
the King Felix thing make me sour. I was sour, but I wasn't mad at anybody. I got why they did it because there was no reason for Softy to do that. And just to rip on the Angels super fast, I have no idea who opening day is going to be. Patrick Sandoval, Reed Detmers, or Zach Plesac are probably your top guys. So not that changes your lineup. I'll leave it as is. Talk about not being scared.
It's the Bill Murray like, oh no, I'm so scared.
Talk about not being scared. That's awful.
All right. So, I mean, we've talked about a lot, RDT. Thank you so much for coming on. I think there's one thing I do want to ask you before we end the interview. What is your go-to Jimmy's seafood order?
Man, there's so much. I was there last week. I've been there like 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I start out with the bowl of cream of crab. That can be a meal in itself. It's like it's not a soup. It's just like it's so thick. It's like a molasses.
Okay.
And they just debuted a spicy one. I haven't had the spicy one yet. But I need to get that. Then I go the crab cake egg rolls, which again are an appetizer that I will get as a full on meal. I've gotten they have a Gunner burger, which I've gotten multiple times. I get the fried crab mac and cheese hamburger. I've gotten that a bunch. It's fried crab mac and cheese balls with bacon and onion. It's just like, oh, it's so good. I'm not a seafood guy. Like I don't do crabs. Like I won't sit around and pick crabs and all that. I'll eat the crab cakes and all that. Crab cake sliders are delicious. Their sushi's awesome. I've never had it, but again, their sushi's really good. You literally cannot go wrong. The amount of food they have there, and they ship all over, and it's as good as in the restaurant if you get it like delivered. Like my sister lives in San Diego, and we send it to her all the time.
That's awesome.
Again, I'll usually go the cream of crab, the egg rolls, and then some kind of burger and mix it up there. But you really can't go wrong with that.
All right, and that's a hell of an order. Because Andrew's like, what do we need to ask him about? I was like, he's a big Jimmy seafood guy. I was like, we need to know the order.
Gotta know.
So before we wrap up, we want to kind of just give the floor to you. We got 1.5 minutes left in Zoom time, but give the floor to you. Anything you want to talk about, anything you want to promote to all our tens of listeners, feel free. Floor is yours.
No, again, number one, I appreciate you guys having me on. Again, it's an exciting time now with football officially over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a basketball fan, but not the biggest one. But it's all baseball from here on out, baby.
Absolutely.
So, again, follow me if you want. I will say I'm a volume tweeter. I'm a J.R. Smith. I'm like, I'll give you 6 for 35, but those 6 will hit, and they'll be big threes. But again, just know some of them will miss. And again, I'm a volume tweeter, but at EDITTI22 on Twitter. Again, I'll try and go soft against the Mariners fans and softy this year, but I can't promise much.
Give them hell.
I do promise. I'll give you a lot of content to consume. I promise you that.
No, he's all over it, man. And again, thank you again.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. This is our first interview. Hopefully more to come. Hopefully the O's win 100 games and we get to see you again. And hell, hopefully we get up to Baltimore. We'll go. What was it? Pickles. We'll go head out to Pickles. We'll check out Jimmy's Seafood and we'll have a good time.
You say the word.
RDT, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hit it.
Wasn't that an amazing interview? That was the best interview I've ever heard.
I hope you enjoyed and, keep coming on for more. Now we are asking for your help in a ton of our episodes coming in March. Go ahead, give them a breakdown on that.
All right, guys. So this is what we want to do. We have been brainstorming on how we want to engage more, but also make spring training really special. And so what we've come up with is we want to have a fan from every single Major League Baseball team to be a part of the show. Now, what we're asking is that you send us at most a 90-second clip talking about your team, what you're excited about, what your pain points are, what your expectations are, however you want to spend those 90 seconds. Send us that information, and we are going to hopefully use it on our episode as we go through every single team and every single division. So we are hoping to get at least 2, maybe even 3 per team, and we'll play them on our episodes and react to them. And we thought it'd be a fun way to get people involved. It'd be a fun way for us to get outside of our own echo chamber. If you are interested, there's multiple ways that you can do this. The easiest way to do it is to send us an email at coachessonspod@gmail.com. Now, you can also DM us on either Instagram or X, formerly known as Twitter. Same handle, Coaches Sons Pod. And we can do it that way as well. We're reaching out to other podcasters, too, to try to get their input. The more we can talk to, the better, because we want to get all the opinions in. We don't want to just have what we think we know about baseball. We want to hear the excitement from every perspective. Really excited about that, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, so this is going to be awesome. And like Andrew said, we have started reaching out to a few people, on social media on the back end, mainly because we're not sure if we can get every team, right? It might be a pipe dream. It might not be possible, but we're going to try like hell. So with that said, our goal is to do the AL West, the AL Central, the AL East during 1 week, and the following week do the NL West, NL Central, NL East. So that would be the week of the 11th. So basically we're going to release Monday, Wednesday, Friday that week. So the 11th, 13th, and 15th will be the AL. 18th, 20th, 22nd will be the NL. And then we're going to do an opening day. We're actually going to record on opening day for that Friday as well. That's not going to be the preview episode, but just giving you a heads up of where we're going with that.
That's going to be a celebration episode.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
The season has started.
Well, a lot of stuff going into it. So if you are a fan of an AL team who plan to submit your clip to us, please try to have that in by March 6th. And the NL, you have until the 13th. We're going to have another episode, I think 2 before then. So we'll, reiterate that, but we want to make that call out now, just so you're ready. You have time. You don't have to send it to me now because we know there's going to be a ton of stuff going on between now and then.
A lot of people are going to want to watch spring training, get a better handle on what they think their team's going to do.
And that's perfectly fine.
You've got 3 weeks if you're AL. You've got 4 weeks if you're NL to get it to us. So thank you all so much. We appreciate you giving us a listen. Please give us a follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Chris.
And we are the Coach's Sons.